save the world with your friends. What do you like to do for fun?
Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. It's me, Big Mike, and I know you're probably thinking, another video in which he gives his faults on a trailer? Didn't this mother ducker just do one of those last week? And yes fam, this mother ducker did just do one last week. However, I had no idea this series was even a thing when I was making last week's video. But I have to admit, it is a very welcome surprise. I'm a huge Sonic fan. The first video game I ever owned was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. My favorite TV shows for the longest time as a child were The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Sat AM. Every time they aired, my eyes were glued to the TV. That is, until they finally disappeared off of broadcast TV. And of course, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my all-time favorite game, fam. But let's jump back to the present day. I was really impressed by both of the previous Sonic movies too, and in my humble opinion, the first Sonic film kicked off the current video game movie redemption arc that we are currently in now. So for those who are unfamiliar with the situation with video game movies, in the past, in the 90s and early to mid 2000s, video game movies were not very good at all. The most famous example being that infamous Super Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s. However, as of the release of the first Sonic film, video game movies have been much better. Even great movies, I would say. Now, as a result of this, I've been very much looking forward to the third Sonic movie dropping later this year, and that's something I have been anticipating. However, I had no idea this miniseries was going to be a thing, fam, until a couple of days ago I was just scrolling through my Twitter feed and I stumbled across this trailer. And now I just want to talk on a couple of points of why I'm so excited about this trailer. The most important point here I want to talk about is the writing. Now, one thing we have to talk about first is just how difficult it truly is to judge the writing of any series or movie based on its trailer. You're only seeing select bits and pieces, which are isolated from its larger context. And that's really the major obstacle here. But despite this, I think there are a couple of strengths of this series in regards to its writing that really shine through. So the first point about the writing here I want to talk about is the comedy. The comedy seems to be very true to the Sonic films. And a large portion of the comedy from the film seems to be centered around the pairings of certain characters, often creating an odd couple type of situation.
What do you like to do for fun?
Vengeance.
I was thinking more like reading or yoga.
Come, Weed.
Well, most people think I'm a joke.
I do not make jokes. I make warriors.
And this miniseries seems to be sticking true to that formula. Wade Ripple is a deputy sheriff in Green Hills, and he seems to be easygoing but dim with it, and he's paired up with the stern, proud echidna warrior Knuckles. And a great deal of comedy that we see in the trailer plays off of this. And their relationship isn't the only one with an interesting dynamic. The henchmen we are shown in the trailer seem to have an awkward dynamic, and that's going to be used, I feel like, for a lot of awkward type of comedy.
You think you can take my power? Do I look like I need your power?
What are you talking about? Of course we need his power. It's the whole reason we're here.
Now, if I'm being completely fair here, we need to talk about the criticism. There has been some criticism over what appears to be the plot. It has been said that the odd couple pairing of Knuckles and Wade feels very similar to the plot of the first Sonic film, which focused heavily on the odd pairing of Sonic and Tom. But others have stated that because of the personalities of both Knuckles and Wade and how they're vastly different from Sonic and Tom, that this is going to be something completely different and it's going to provide a unique experience. And I agree with that actually. I agree that the characters' personalities are vastly different. Let's just look at Sonic and Knuckles as our example here. Sonic is this free spirit, fun-loving, gotta go fast, gotta have a good time type of guy, take it easy when he can. But Knuckles, he's this guy, he loves discipline. He loves challenging himself and pushing himself and getting stronger and wanting to be the best warrior he can be. Vastly different. And so I think as a result, the story is going to go in very different and humorous directions. And the other point I want to make about the writing is the characters. This show seems to be a good mix of established characters from both the game and movie series with those characters that was created uniquely for this miniseries. One example of an established character that really electrified the Sonic fandom when he was briefly revealed is Pachamak. Okay, let me apologize here. I have absolutely no idea how this is pronounced. I never really played the Sonic Adventure games, unfortunately. I missed out on those. So I have no idea how it's pronounced, but the name will be on the screen. Pachacamac. Pachacamac, as IGN explains him, is the father of Tikal, who debuted in Sonic Adventure. He is best known for being the chief and warlord of the Knuckles clan, successfully leading them through countless wars in Sonic history until he invoked the wrath of the immortal godlike creature Chaos, who ultimately killed him. And after the trailer dropped and he was briefly shown, the fandom rushed to Twitter to try to figure out if this was really that dude. And it was, actually, and the way it looks, he's going to be working in a bowling alley. But it's still debated, or it's still up in the air as whether that's really him or if that's a Knuckles hallucination, as some of the fandom seems to think. Now, for that particular situation, I don't really have a view, as I'm not very familiar with the character, so I can't really say anything there. An example of an original character is the main antagonist, who Wikipedia is referring to as the Buyer. And honestly, fam, when I first saw him, I was thinking it was Agent Stone, Dr. Eggman's assistant from the films, and that this either was a major time skip or dude had been retconned. But I was relieved to find out that neither are in fact the case. Apparently he is someone who worked for Dr. Eggman, but we never actually saw him.
Knuckles. Without his little friends, he's vulnerable. He's the key to my newest creation.
You worked for Robotnik.
Kind of like how in the Dragon Ball series, Dr. Gero worked for the Red Ribbon Army in the original Dragon Ball, even though we never actually saw him until Dragon Ball Z. And what has me particularly excited here, fam, is just the fact that both these characters I mentioned and more, they have so much potential, and I feel like they're in good hands, and I look forward to seeing how the writers are going to further develop them. Now, the next major point I want to talk about is the quality. Now, one thing that really stood out to me when watching the trailer was the quality, and fam, it is quite impressive. I can't really tell the difference between the quality we've seen in the trailer and that of the theatrical films. And this has me excited, but not surprised. Now, by chance and not by design, a lot of the properties I enjoy are made by Paramount, like South Park and Beavis and Butthead. In both of those situations, there's no difference in quality between the movie, or in the case of South Park's, the specials, and the series in which they come from. And as a result, I feel like such quality is to be expected by Paramount. So when I see the trailer of this quality, and I can rest assured, the quality of the series is going to be as equally high. And the last point I want to make here is I hope this is a setup for something bigger. With having Knuckles go his own way, I am hoping they're preparing to expand the universe, and at some point will eventually introduce the Chaotix, Knuckles' original gang. And particularly my man Vector the Crocodile. Who's Vector, you might ask?
Some info cards, yeah, bitch! I'm a big mofo crocodile. I also love potato chips. And I'm pretty lecherous too, for all your ladies.
I'd love to see Vector and his personality either on a big or small screen. He's one of my favorite characters in all of the Sonic lore, and I hope that this is what this is leading up to. Admittedly, plot-wise, not a very important character, but still somebody I do really enjoy. And the last little tidbit I want to point out here is that a Twitter user by the handle of @Frockleys, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but that user pointed out that with the third Sonic film releasing later this year, as well as this series releasing in April, they're giving us Sonic 3 and Knuckles. During the 30th year anniversary of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, no less, fam. So you know what? That has me all smile. So as you probably guessed it, I am stoked for this series to drop, fam. I'm looking forward to this, not just as a Sonic fan, but also as a video game fan too. Since the first Sonic movie dropped back in 2020, I feel like video game movies have been much better than they were in the 90s and 2000s. both Sonic movies, Mortal Kombat, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Tetris, if we can count Tetris, were all bangers, and so I'm looking forward to seeing if this miniseries will keep the trend going, and even more so expand out into miniseries. And I believe it will. I have a great deal of confidence here. Both Paramount and specifically the team behind the Sonic films have shown time and again to be able to do excellent things with the world's way past cool Hedgehog. And that's all I gotta say about that. I look forward to April when this drops, and we will call it here, fam. Special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job doing my art. A special thanks to all my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. And most importantly, a special thank you to all of you for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it. Feel free to comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like my content, please subscribe and turn your notifications on. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out!